Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.
Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, Helen Freund, food writer for Gambit Weekly, and you also cover the crime scene for The Advocate, too.
I used to, not anymore, but
now
yes.
It's food.
Now it's just all food.
Okay, and Alan Smason, of course, of theatercriticism.com and us every week. We'll also later on, though, have a performance by the New Orleans Children's Chorus. But first up, Helen, we're going to look back a little bit in the year, aren't we?
Yeah, it's been a really busy year. A lot of stuff has happened. A lot of places have opened. I figured I would talk a little bit about some of these new restaurants that have opened that are big. Bywater American Bistro.
That's the big
right?
one.
That's the big one. Yeah. Although there's more.
Yes.
But you know, this is Nina Compton's. Her second big restaurant. Everyone was really excited because Compère Le Pen was such a smashing success, right? But she's done it again. Her executive chef there, Levi Rains, and her have really. It's a little bit more, I guess, not quite as upscale, a little bit more of a neighborhood bistro, but really excellent. And in the Bywater, where Maritza used to be.
Yes, and actually, you would think perhaps there'd be a problem with acoustics. It's sort of like one big room, but it's not.
No, not at all.
Pleasant.
It doesn't get too loud. It's actually quite intimate. Yeah. So that's been really exciting, and of course the next one is Saba, which is arguably probably the biggest restaurant opening I think so far this year.
Yeah, in the old Kentons.
In the old Kentons, yeah. And this is, what's interesting about this is it's Alon Shaya's first really go at it by himself. Him and his wife started Pomegranate Hospitality. He's got a restaurant now, this one Saba, and then another one in Denver. So people that are really familiar with what he was doing before, as far as like modern Israeli cuisine, will be really comforted. It's very similar to that, but it's also distinct, and it's just, the food's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah. So next up, we've got the Elysian Bar, right? Which that one's really remarkable for two different reasons. I think first of all, the space itself. It's the former Saints Peter and Paul Church, the Catholic Church in the Marigny.
Oh yes.
And this has been a renovation that's been sort of in the years long, right? They've been working on this for a long, long time, and it's stunning. It's the former church, the rectory, the schoolhouse. Yeah. So and then the Elysian Bar is being led by Alex Harrell, who was at Sylvain, right?
Oh, yes. And I understand Brett Anderson's wife is one of the co-owners.
Yes, she is, Natalie. Yep,
yeah.
Exactly. And then the Bacchanal team are also sort of heading the food and beverage operation part of it. Yeah, and so, I don't think I'm just speaking for myself, but when Angeline closed in the French Quarter, that was Alex's restaurant, right? Everyone was pretty heartbroken. So this is a great opportunity for him, and it's so wonderful to see him cooking again.
Absolutely.
So next up we have Barrow's Catfish, which, I'm sure you all remember Barrow's Shady Inn.
Yes,
right?
Of course. Right there off Earhart.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's not in the exact same place, though,
no,
is it?
it's actually in the space that used to be, it's where Maple Street Patisserie used to be, and then after that there was a barbecue restaurant.
That's right off Carrollton, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a little shopping center.
Yeah. There's a gym, I think a Chinese place next to it too. So they do, what they've always done. They're doing really, really good catfish, and this isn't like thin shaved Mittendorf style. This is like thick, juicy fillets and that really good creamy potato salad. Yeah.
Glad they're back.
Yeah, me too. And so lastly, I figured I would talk a little bit about the French Quarter, because that, for me right now, I think is the most exciting place where restaurants are opening. And we're going to see this in the next year as well. There are, I think, 3 or 4 big name chefs and bartenders that are opening up places there. So specifically Menolito, which is a Cuban bar, really, but they also do food. So you're gonna find daiquiris and Cuba Libres, and then really classic Cuban dishes like ropa vieja. And that's on Dumaine Street, really petite, tiny little spot. And then the other spot that I've been really excited about is Longway Tavern. And that is from the LeBlanc and Smith crew, right? So they've got Sylvain and Mobar and Barrel Proof. And yeah, it's a charming place to stop in and grab a drink or have a bite kind of any time of day, definitely a nightcap. Yeah.
Very intriguing to see the growth of restaurants in the quarter.
Yeah, you know, I think we all have these places that we love in the quarter, right? But I think there's been a lot kind of a bad rap that it gets as a tourist spot, and you know, the traffic's bad and it's hard to find parking. But all these people that are opening up places, I think, are kind of looking to it more as a neighborhood destination. People that maybe live nearby or work in the quarter. So that's really wonderful.
You know, and just like I sort of a shout out to the gumbo shop and the coffee pot.
Oh yeah, the old coffee.
Two New Orleans standbys, you know, that
Still
should
there.
not be forgotten. Still of quality and doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. Well, thank you so much. And earlier today, Executive and Artistic Director Cheryl DuPont and the New Orleans Children's Chorus came in to tell us about their upcoming plans and give us a very special performance. Cheryl, the Children's Chorus of New Orleans, 37 years old, and you, of course, have been at the helm for 31 years. Pretty impressive.
That's right. Yeah.
Four, not one, not two, but three, but four choirs within one, huh?
That's right.
And the different age ranges?
We start them at the age of 5, and we have kids 5 and 6 that are in our songbirds. We don't really call them a choir because they don't hold music and they don't stand still very much, but it's a music learning program. And then we have 2 other choirs for kids of various ages above 7, and then we have an alumni chorus, which is something that's in its 2nd year now with, I still call them kids, but when they were kids, they sang with me, and now they're productive members of society, and they still come back to sing every now and then and perform in our concerts.
There are many illustrious alums, including Brian Hemel and Sarah Jane McMahon, and I'm sure there are many more than that.
Yeah, quite a
too.
few.
So I'm saying you're just so proud. You've been at it for a long time, but this is a big deal. New Year's Eve, where will you be?
We will be on Frenchman Street singing for CNN. They are cutting away from the Times Square broadcast, and they do remote broadcasts from Frenchman Street.
Approximately what time? Do we have any idea?
We're supposed to sing once between 7 and 8 Central, and once between 8 and 9. And that's as much as we know.
That's it. But it's still very
Yes.
exciting. Now, 2 important things. If someone wants to join the choir, how do they do that?
Oh, they can go to our website, which is neworleanschildrenschorus.org. They can call our office, which is 482-2883, or they can email us, and the email address is on the website.
And are there regular rehearsals?
Regular rehearsals on Mondays, different times for the various groups.
Great.
And we'll be taking new singers in January, and we're glad to have anybody new.
Absolutely. And you all have performed at Carnegie Hall, and
Yeah.
you're going to Italy?
We're going to Italy. I'm conducting a concert in Florence in June with these singers and some singers from other choirs and orchestra.
And every year you also have a choral celebration during the summer, huh?
Crescent
here?
City Choral Festival. It's in our 20th year.
Wow.
And this year we have 15 choirs coming from all over the country, and we do a big free concert with all the choirs singing together, and then singing each choir singing one piece on their own.
Well, many congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you all on New Year's Eve.
Thank you.
I will make you grow just and toys for your delight. Of bird song at morning and starshine at night.
Orleans Children's Chorus will be performing 7 and 8 o'clock Central Time on CNN. They'll be on Frenchman Street on New Year's Eve. And contact the number on your screen or visit the chorus's website to learn more about their group. So proud of them. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Pravati Anand Tirthan gave us the name of a French pastry served at Christmas time that is designed to look like a log, and its English name too. The answers are Bûche de Noël and an English Christmas or Yule log. Now tonight's question. This Christmas song contains the line, "You'll see a Dixieland Santa Claus leading the band to a good old Creole beat." Name the song and its most famous performer and rendition of it. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes, an apron with the message "Soy to the World" from our friends at wearablevegetables.com. Copies of the books. Boy, we have lots of wonderful gifts. Christmas in New Orleans by John McGill and me. New Orleans Homes at Christmas by Bonnie Warren with great photos by Cheryl Gerber. And the new book, A Fire in My Lens by Armand Richardson. You can go to WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including George Dunbar's art exhibit, which runs until this Sunday at Callan Contemporary Gallery. You can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to see our program. And now, though, it's also time for our Artist Spotlight. A little bit more art. Tonight, though, we're featuring artwork from a group exhibit at Carol Robinson Gallery. This is Orphans with Honeybees Too by Noah Satterstrom. And we have Birds of a Feather by Kathy Hegman. These, as well as others, are in the Enchanted Christmas group exhibit at the Carol Robinson Gallery on Napoleon. Visit the gallery's website to learn more. Now, Alan.
Well, you know, the holidays have been associated with a good many classic movies, including It's a Wonderful Life, White Christmas, A Christmas Story, and more recently, Elf. This was a movie that starred Bacchus 44 Will Ferrell. It's the story of Buddy the Elf, a human baby who is unwittingly transported in Santa's goodie sack and brought to the North Pole, where he finds himself growing up among the elves. And indeed, you know, it's an opportunity to have a little humor with Will Ferrell. And they've made it now into a musical. James Caan, by the way, was the fellow who played the father in that movie. Now, last year at holiday time, the Sanger presented Irving Berlin's White Christmas, which JPAS just, of course, recently did. And, of course, that was an equity show. This show, Elf, however, is not an equity show. That's the bad news. Now, the good news is that the cast is generally good. And that's, you know, pretty good that you have a cast from Elf that's doing a good job. And the guy who really is heading it up is Eric Williams. He plays Buddy, the elf who's trying to reconnect with his dad. The book is by Thomas Meehan. And, of course, Thomas made his bones, as it were, with Annie. Again, Bob Martin, who also wrote The Drowsy Chaperone. He now featured on Broadway with The Prom. But I was a bit disappointed. The book left a lot to be desired. And I guess it's based on a movie which was a comedy and really left a little bit, as I say,
tired and corny.
Yeah,
very
you know,
cute, very
but I have to say
but-
the cast did a pretty good job,
did,
and I will say Matthew Sklar and Chad Beglin wrote the music, you know, it was very festive and in keeping with the season. There were a lot of elves running around on stage, or maybe swaddling around on stage, as it were, because they were elves and they were short and using their knees, I guess, a lot more. Fake Santas a lot, and the trappings of the holidays are all put up. But again, my thought was that the elf cast really tried very hard to please, and again, those of you who are bringing the kids, etc., are not going to be disappointed. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of this than I did. I wanted to shout out the two female leads, Paloma de Oria as Jovi, and also Buddy's girlfriend, of course, and Caitlin Lester Sams. She was the mother, or the stepmother, if you will. Elf, the musical, will be running through this weekend, December the 23rd. Now, concluding its run is the Santaland Diaries. This is a one-man show that stars Alex Martinez Wallace as Bob Crumpet. Now, this is based on the National Public Radio pieces that were penned by David Sedaris, and again, put on Broadway by Joe Mantello, a wonderful director in his own right, maybe one of the best that's out there. And it played here a few years ago with A.J. Allegra in the role of Crumpet. Well, A.J. debuted as a director with JPAS while he was directing this particular role for Alex Martinez Wallace, and they're both together in the NOLA project, so they know each other. Martinez Wallace plays this as an irascible, cantankerous, and grumpy kind of fellow, only one one of which was a dwarf, if you remember. But those of those who want to see the darker side of the holidays and want a good show, a good laugh in the process, Alex is very good.
For the uninitiated, though, so the whole idea is that he gets a job as an elf in Santa Land,
he's a
which
Santa
is the
helper.
Macy's.
Right,
Santa's
exactly.
helper at Macy's
Exactly.
in New York.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what it
So
is
backstage.
essentially he's giving you all of the backstory, if you will, on Santa Land.
But a little on the snooty side,
Yes,
shall we say?
yeah. You really need a good sense of humor to appreciate it. If you're really, into your traditional holidays, this is not for you. But if you have a little bit of, let's say,
snide.
irony in your blood, then you'll
Yes.
probably like that.
Okay.
The Santa Land Diaries, again, runs through this weekend only. Now, the final holiday show of the year was what they bill as a Christmas spectacular. That's The Mutilated. Now, this is a piece that was written by Tennessee Williams. He's not noted for his comedies, and again,
No, he's not.
this is one that's kind of, a work that they say is a spectacular. I wasn't nearly as impressed with it as a spectacular, but it is Tennessee's major comedy work, if you will. A Streetcar Named Desire and The Glass Menagerie are going to run a lot longer than The Mutilated. The two best parts of the vehicle, though, are, I believe, Margot Manning and Tracy Collins. They play this dysfunctional couple that have a really true love-hate relationship. That's Trinket Dugan and Celeste Delacroix Griffin. What a wonderful name. Augustin Carrero directed the cast. It also include Adler Hyatt, who you maybe remember. He played the one-armed fellow in their last production. He was
yes.
very good in that.
Yeah.
Meredith Owens, Bo Bratcher, of course, who's known as a great director in his own right. Kyle Dagerpont, Lakeisha Glover, and also April Louise, one of the former winners of the Stage Door Idol competition. There's an original score by Michael Gillette, who's in this as well. It accompanies the lyrics of Tennessee Williams. The songs really don't advance the plot. They don't really expand the characters. As a result, it's really not a true musical in the sense that we know it doesn't always fit. But again, it's going to be running through the 22nd. Again, those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, it's at the Zeitgeist Theater. Again, a very unusual space. I understand that space may be leaving now and that we will be in need of another
Aretha
theater
Castle
space.
Haley.
So again, that's right on Aretha Castle Haley, right exactly in what would be Central City. And again, those of you who get a chance to catch it up, I believe the ticket prices are between $23 and $55. And finally, John Green of the Radical Buffoons is starring in something called Balloonacy. It's a piece which has a lot of physical comedy. It's a man in a balloon, basically live accompaniment on keyboards by Brian Coogan. Again, that's starting up this weekend. It's going to run for a week until the 30th, and I thought that I might mention, that's out as well. Now, you may remember he's been involved with a number of productions in addition to Goat in the Road and some of those things that you may have seen, some of the more alternative works. But again, this is really physical comedy. I would liken it to pantomime. If you can imagine some of the old French type style films where you have a man, a balloon, or some sort of thing.
Marcel.
A lot of pantomime, that's going to be in there. So I again, and the unusual place where they're having it, the Lighthouse Building. You remember the Lighthouse for the
I
Blind?
can't, yeah.
It's now a theater space. How about that?
Yeah, it used to be a long time ago.
Yes, a glass blowing place. So now they're
Wow.
using it for the Radical Buffoons. So they'll have their balloonacy.
All right, thank you. And now time for our picks. Helen.
It's still the holiday season, and all I want really is eggnog. Station
Slightly
6.
spiked, or?
Oh, very spiked.
Oh, good.
Station 6 makes one over in Bucktown that they call it the Six Nog, and it's got 3 different kinds of liquor in there. I think it's got whiskey, rum, and brandy, and it's kind of like a brandy milk punch. It's got that same sort of spice, creamy. It's delicious.
Ooh,
Yeah.
and that restaurant is so good.
Oh, it's wonderful.
so
Yeah,
good
yeah.
and so original. Alan.
Well, I want to put a plug in, if I can, for this movie that's just out. Mary Poppins Returns. You will love it. Take the kids, take the grandparents, take everybody. This is wonderful. Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman did an excellent job on the score. And again, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Emily Blunt, fantastic. The Nutcracker Ballet, that's the German version of the Nutcracker, is going to be the Gretna Cultural Center for the Arts in Gretna. And again, put on by Jefferson Ballet Theater. I thought maybe we'd give that a shout out because, you can only have so much holiday fare before it's gone. So
Okay.
there you go.
And now my picks. Before my picks, actually, I wanted to show a clip from the Beau Rivage Resort and Casino's holiday show in Biloxi, Christmas Dreams. Let's watch. can see Christmas Dreams at the Beau Rivage Resort and Casino in Biloxi now through December 27th. Call the number on your screen or visit the resort's website to purchase tickets. I also wanted to tell you, though, that I saw it, okay? And Alan, a real thumbs up. It's family-oriented, but also a lot of standards. There's lots of singing as well, live singing.
And it's all on ice.
And it's all on ice, okay? The singers aren't necessarily always on ice, but some really wonderful performances. The other thing is the lobby at the hotel. They go to a lot of trouble with these enormous ornaments and nutcrackers, so it makes for a lovely spending the night. But the show, much production values in it too. A really fun time.
Okay.
And if you're still doing some Christmas shopping, I wanted to show an etching. This is part 2 of last week by local artist George Schmidt. This is titled All Saints of New Orleans, not the football kind. This artwork and many of his pieces are available for purchase at his gallery on Julia Street and then on his website. But the other thing is that is also a painting, but we're talking about Mother Cabrini, Father Silos, so the famous saints, Catherine Drexel, the saints of New Orleans. He has a painting of that, and he has limited edition prints, but the etching is very special.
Doesn't he use some real people in place of historical figures?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the saints, I think he tried to be true to the best of his knowledge, right? Okay. And my picks, just a reminder that there are still openings for a once-in-a-lifetime private 1-hour piano lesson. This is a fundraiser for the Musicians Village by Harry Connick Jr. Can you imagine? Hi, can you teach me piano? The offer will be available until January 1st. Email ldelrio@ellismarcelluscenter.org to purchase that. And looking ahead, celebrating the holidays with Benny Grunch and the Bunch, either on Christmas Eve at the Rouse's Supermarket on Veterans Boulevard in Metairie, or on Christmas Day at the giant 12 Yachts of Christmas Party at Rockable, and he's going to be on our show next week. Visit Benny's website for more information. And the Moscow Ballet is staging their performance of the Great Nutcracker Suite. And of course, that's next Wednesday at the I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go. There'll be a performance in the afternoon at 3 o'clock and another at 7 p.m. Visit singernola.com for tickets. And before we leave you, okay, putting you a little bit on the spot, we talked about those restaurants earlier, but what about some favorite dishes at the restaurant?
Oh gosh, there were so many. Really excellent is there's like a steamed red snapper at Bywater American Bistro, and they serve it, wait for this, with a crystal hot sauce hollandaise on top. So not something you'd think would go together, but it's fantastic.
That sounds really good. And you saw Mary Poppins, the musical?
Well, Mary Poppins Returns, the movie, yes.
The movie?
So I recommended it earlier, but what it is it takes you back to 1964 when they take the animation and the players, the live action figures actually are on screen with them, interacting with them. It's really, just a throwback to the old Disney movie, but also it's updated. It takes the storyline that we had back in '64 and advances it, and it really is a very heartwarming film.
What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
Die Hard. I'm a romantic.
No.
Probably Christmas Story. I love that one. So
How about
much.
yours?
National Lampoon's Christmas
Oh,
Vacation.
yeah, very funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to dig further back. Holiday Inn.
42.
Yes,
with Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire and Marjorie Reynolds. I love that movie. I watch it. If anybody else has to see that movie, you got to see it because the guy has an inn.
Right.
Bing Crosby has an inn, and he only opens up because he kind of got burned out in his performance career. So he only opens up for holidays, and of course, White Christmas.
Well, White Christmas was actually supposed to be the third Fred Astaire Bing Crosby movie. They did Blue Skies after they did Holiday Inn. It didn't happen. Fred Astaire said he wanted out. That's why you ended up with Danny Kaye, our Bacchus #1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, so Holiday Inn. So, yeah, in Blue Skies and in Holiday Inn and in White Christmas, you hear White Christmas. So, a little New Orleans trivia. Okay, we cannot leave without talking about Mr. Bingle, and thanks to Dillard's for keeping the drive alive. The little snowman, that's a New Orleans icon, dating back to Maison Blanche department store in Canal Street. But Dillard's at Lakeside still has Mr. Bingle's. And here is thank you to my friend Maria K. Cheddar, who dropped one off. Look at the ornament. And they still have, of course, the Mr. Bingle's, the stuffed dolls. Also, she's like my Christmas woman about
and
town
Halloween,
here.
too.
And Halloween, that's right. from Swiss Bakery, which is now an American can on Orleans. These are champagnes. No, there's not any champagne in them, okay? But it's actually icing and the little
Well, they're Hollywood,
puff
like, oh, those are
pastry. Aren't they
adorable.
great? Like
Yeah.
Okay, that. Also, something I was not aware of are the cake balls, okay?
I've had those before.
Have
They're
you had
great.
them?
Yeah.
Yes, so red velvet and pistachio. Oh my gosh.
Looks like someone already had a couple of those.
Can you smell all
Must
of
have been
that?
Mr. Bingle.
I know. Do you have your Mr. Bingles from the past?
I actually had a little one a little stuffed animal from Mr. Bingle.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all, and to all a good night. Thank you for watching. Good night.